Welcome. We're talking about wisdom, living well. There are three wisdom books in the Bible: Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Job. And Proverbs takes the viewpoint that if you do this, you will get that. If you live according to these principles, then life will turn out this way. But sometimes we all know that life does not turn out that way. We do the right things, and sometimes life doesn't turn out the way we expect. Now, the ancients realized this because they observed life, and they were in relationship with God, and God revealed to them other ways. And so there are two other books in the Bible, wisdom books, that are Ecclesiastes and Job. And Ecclesiastes speaks to those times when life is disorienting. In fact, the word that the author of Ecclesiastes repeats again and again is the word meaningless, that life is meaningless. Now, what that means is not that life is without meaning, but actually the root of that word in Hebrew, hevel, is smoke or vapor. And just as smoke and vapor is hard to grasp and is uncontrollable, and you can get lost in it, then you can't at times see clearly your way through it. It appears solid, yet it is not. That life is that way at times. It is unpredictable. And so hevel is not that life has no meaning, but rather that meaning, the life that we have, can be very confusing and disorienting. And so the author of Ecclesiastes says, what do we do in those times? And comes to the conclusion that simply we thank God for the small things, and we live in the moment, we live in the day, we live in what God has given us for that day, and we rejoice in it. And so the small gifts, like the warm sun on the face, or the song of a bird, or the laughter of a child, we're thankful to God for those things. That's Ecclesiastes. The final wisdom book in the Bible is Job. And we all have heard about Job, right? He was the righteous man, the innocent man, the one that lived according to the principles of Proverbs, and yet his life did not turn out that way at all. In fact, he suffered. He suffered greatly. And Job maintains his innocence. And he's thankful to God, but he maintains his innocence. And eventually he clamors out to God. He says to God, God, please, you need to answer me on this. I am innocent. Why are you treating me this way? And God responds, not in the way that Job wanted him to or expected him to, but God shows Job who he is. That God is so much beyond who Job is, and he simply asks Job to trust him, So in Proverbs and Ecclesiastes and in Job, these three books of wisdom in the Bible, we learn that wise living begins and ends with trusting in God. That we are to live trusting in God always, every moment, all the time. I love the saying I read somewhere, I don't remember where, that we are to live fully in the present today. Not yesterday, not live in the past, not just live for tomorrow, but live fully present today, but with an eye on eternity, and trust God with all that we have.